Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Morning Coffees with James. I'm James, and this show you were watching on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, BitChute. Hopefully I get to those other places, because why? Because I'm getting sick of, I really am getting sick of the bullshit at the other channels. So, what are we talking about today? Well, we are talking about changes and the thing I'm doing, which is called, yes, my hair is thinning out, and I figured out what was wrong with it. It is called, and as part of this, it is an abbreviation called H.E.A.L, which is H-E-A.L, and it stands for health, energy, attitude, and love. Why? Because it has to be that. What does it all mean? Well, it means that I'm basically healing myself. I'm basically at a point where I was not running around and all this stuff, and I was, for the last couple of years now, I've been kind of lost. Like, I lost my brother, which was in the end of 2019, around this time. COVID hit, which was shutting down everything and basically making us into slaves and stuff like that, and realizing we didn't have that much freedom to begin with, and all that stuff. And yeah, it doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look that bad. I am medicating this. I'm using Head and Shoulders. I know people out there are like, oh, you can't use Head and Shoulders, there's chemicals, and I need something with medication in it. Like, I can't do this whole going raw dog shit. And I realize I can't just do, it's hard to find natural shit nowadays. You look at the back of every ingredient on anything. There's usually, a shit ton of soy, a shit ton of chemicals, a shit ton of oils of some sort, of like seed oils and shit like that, canola oil and all that other stuff. There's too much fucking oils and shit in that. Look at the food you eat. Too much soy, too much oils, too much wheat, too much goddamn filler that does not need to be there. Yet they don't want to teach you proper nutrition because, God forbid, our one president, the wheelchair man, Franklin D. Roosevelt, got a heart attack, and they blamed it on meat. That's what happened. They're like, oh, meat is the culprit. You need to eat sugar and grain, more grains. The reason why they're feeding you fucking grains is that they're trying to make you unhealthy. They're trying to make, that is peasants' food. King's food is basically meat. So if you want to go vegan, fine, but please do not take away my meat. Live your life and leave me the fuck alone. That's the libertarian stances here. But this is the thing I'm getting quite annoyed with was, minus that. I'll talk about that in just a moment. But I'm also cutting back on caffeine big time. I stopped drinking energy drinks because I feel like it was a substitute for energy, for caffeine, like for coffee, you know what I mean? Like, and I didn't really need to drink as much caffeine as I should have, and basically I was like hurting myself rather than helping myself. Yeah, it was fun getting all that energy in and getting it done, but I also felt like absolute shit, and I felt agitated, like something was wrong, and I was like, alright, fine, I gotta quit caffeine. Hopefully, so I'm down to, say, 2.5 cups. Excuse me, 1.5 cups. Excuse that was a little extreme. 1.5 cups, and I was when I was drinking coffee, I was at 2.5 cups, and then I was at 2 cups, and now I'm at 2.5 cups, which I think is pretty good. Pretty good. I think that's just where I need to be. Also doing medicated shampoo, washing my hair. I'm trying to get a water distiller, and hopefully for the entire house I live in, if I still live here, a water filtration system that makes distilled water, because most of the water that you have in your house, the tap water, there's some chemicals in it. Let's be honest. I know people out there, oh, you're listening to Alex Jones and all this stuff, talking about the gay frogs. No, it's not just about the gay frogs or anything like that. It's also what's in our chemicals, like the dyes. And also, that's another thing, too. There are too many fucking dyes in your food and all this shit. Like that drink you get, that blue drink, look at the back at every drink you get and tell me how many chemicals are in there. There's too many goddamn chemicals in our drinks, and I think that's the issue we have, is that our diet is so shitty that we have these crazy people running around and they're not fueling their body. Because Napoleon said it the best: a nation marches on its stomach. That's the goddamn truth. It marches on its stomach, and nobody wants to address that. So I'm cutting down on caffeine. I'm eating more. That's the thing. That's the major thing I have to do. That is to eat more, because I know I'm not eating as much as I should have, and I'm hurting myself. I'm basically not focused enough, and I feel like I'm just kind of falling off the rails. Like, and also overtraining too. I've been overtraining a lot. So what I mean by that is just not giving myself the maximum of 2 rest days. Maybe 3 if I feel, courteous to myself. But reality is that I just overtrain and work way too dang hard and hurt myself. You know what I mean? Like, granted, I like doing a leg day on Saturday, but like honestly, like you don't need to do a shit ton of things, and especially like cardio. You don't need to do cardio often. If you really want to lose weight, resistance training, like lift weights, lift heavy things. That's basically what it just comes down to, and do cardio on a maximum of like 1 to 2 days, maybe 3 if you're feeling it up to it, but mostly just 1 to 2 days. And that was happening to me. I was not giving myself the proper rest and just relaxing. And again, stretching is fine, walking is fine. Going on an adventure, like, to find something relaxing to do. You don't need to hurt yourself constantly. If you're trying to lose weight, I say look at your nutrition rather than your training. Like, if you are training to an extreme but yet you don't see any results, look at your diet. I think that's usually the issue there. And that's always the tricky part no one ever wants to discuss is diet. Nobody ever wants to discuss diet because it's like, oh, you're fat phobic and fat, you don't like fat people. And it's like, no, I don't hate fat people. I like thick people. Okay? It's morbidly obese people who think they're hot shit, and really they can't, or the idea mindset of like they can't do anything about that. Like, granted, there are endomorph people out. Like, there are the 3 body types, if you knew it. There's endomorph, ectomorph, and mesomorph. And then there's xenomorph and necromorph. But that's a different topic of the day. But the major 3 ones is endo, ecto, and meso. Meso is kind of the balanced one. Ecto is kind of the long, lanky one, which is kind of funny. Because it's like, oh, it's like you're like a ghost. And endo is kind of the stocky guys. But that's usually the case when it comes to like health on that point. It's like, sometimes overworking yourself could lead to bad situations. So sometimes maybe giving yourself a couple of days to rest may be the best option for you because you can recover. And I really thought about this. Like, yeah, I usually took Saturdays and Sundays off. I really didn't, even when I was a kid, even when I was like still training, like I took those days off. And even like on my like off days, I usually like swam. And you really think about it, like, yeah, you feel a little off when you don't really, give yourself the proper rest. That's usually the case. So, yeah, I'm going to work on that and just really trying to focus on slowing myself down a little bit. Doesn't mean I'm getting older and I need to slow down. It just means to be like, yo, you've been working a little bit too hard. You need to step it back up a little bit. Like, calm yourself down. You don't need to be drinking, 20, drinking a fucking tall boy bang and a, 3 cups of coffee. It's like you're not in the WWE. Relax. So, and it also caffeine restricts your blood flow too. So it's something you need to look at. So I'm going to start drinking more orange juice, a lot more fruit. So I know people out there, but you're on the carnivore diet. The carnivore diet allows for some fruit and some carbohydrates, not animal-based carbohydrates like milk. I'm trying to think what else. Milk. Berries, cheese. Yes, I know that berries are not animal based, but the fruit is a good thing because fruit is basically what they're begging to be eaten because they're bright, colorful, and they're sweet and they taste good. So like a lot more fats in my diet, a lot more carbohydrates of the good kind. Animal based carbohydrates. Your base should not be carbohydrates. It should be protein. You should be eating more protein rather than carbohydrates, so, and a little bit more fat because that's where you're going to get most of your energy from. So, but yeah, I'm going to start taking care of myself. And again, I'm in the bulking season, so I should be eating more. Let's see, what else? Caffeine, okay. So yeah, but then I'm going to get into the other stuff too for H.E.A.L, which is energy, which that's, the flow, the functionality, if you will. God, the force, love, the energy that flows through all living things and beings, that calms us down. that's the thing I'm kind of worried about right now, because it's kind of is what I need. I need that flow of energy and just the feng shui and just kind of breathing into things. You know what I mean? Just kind of going in and, you know, the flow of things. You know, you can also see that I've also removed that like that confinement I had as a bed. Now I have all this freedom here, and I feel more open. I feel more as if I just took a boogie, and like I already did some of that in my room. Removed like an old toy box. I got some boxes out of here. I removed a lot of like my nephew's toys that are in here. Kept some of the things. I kept some of the plushies, but moved some of the things around. I'm gonna get some bed raisers. Possibly gonna get a chair for this room just so I can sit and be a normal person. Maybe a table so this is up a little higher. This computer. I'm gonna get my shit in order. So yeah, it's about getting the flow of things in order. Next on that list is attitude. Attitude is very important because you don't want a negative attitude constantly. And I think this is what the problem is in our culture, is that we worship, and I have to agree with I really do have to agree with Kevin Hart on this. We live in a culture that worships negativity. Absolute negativity. I mean, take a look at the whole situation with the Little Mermaid, with that Little Mermaid situation. Like, yeah, it's unhealthy because it's, you know, people are fighting and debating over it and not really looking at the fact that Disney makes deals with China and they take their microchips and stuff like that from them, from Uyghur, and I said Uyghur, slave camps, which are Chinese Muslims. And we don't focus on that. And the fact that they have this gay agenda out, or too, like, they're open about that too. Like, they're very much open about the whole trans. It's very uncomfortable in the sense. It's like Disney should be entertaining us and not lecturing us on things. And I feel like, and I want to ask you this: do you think Disney is propaganda, like lecturing us? And I'm not talking about just the people who know. I'm talking about the people who don't know. Like, and again, I know people are upset about the whole. Oh, you people are just getting upset about Black Ariel. It's like, well. Do you like the fact that they are making original white characters black for you because they have no lack of imagination? That's really what it just comes down to. There's this bit of this narcissism that stems from that a little bit. But I'm not going to get into that topic, so I know people are like, what are you talking about? Like, I'll let you think about that for a moment. Then, attitude. So yeah, you got to get your attitude in order. Have a good attitude. Sometimes you need to have an aggressive attitude. Sometimes you need to understand where that attitude should be coming from and what levels you should be at. If you want to be cool, be cool. If you want to be angry, but be angry towards the right things. If you want to be happy, be happy. Don't be upset anymore. That's what I'm going to do. I mean, hell, I still live with my parents, and it kind of sucks, but it's a good motivator to move the hell out. Also, I have some bad habits I need to stop doing too, which is a little rough, but you know, if you've conquered your demons, you can, conquer yourself, then you can conquer the world. And then there's love, which is the last one, that's the L. And I mean love in the sense of loving, sharing the love with everybody else, yes. I have a friend, my friend Pam, I love her. She's a loving person. She gives me love. I give her love back. I've been trying to give her a couple of gifts I have for her. I'm not going to tell you what they are, but they are photos, but I'm not going to say what kind, but you know how it is. Yeah. And that's what it is. But also loving yourself, taking care of this individual first before anything else. Because if you don't love yourself, you can't love anybody else. You gotta give yourself self-esteem. You gotta give yourself, the love you need and accept your own failures. Forgive yourself. Even if it involves something big, but forgiving yourself is the biggest part. You can look at yourself and say, yes, I failed, but maybe just looking at failures as a positive thing. For example, I got scammed out of money. A good amount of money, too. $700. I know people out there are like, oh, you fucking idiot. And yeah, true, but at least I got a good scare out of it. At least, I got, a good... At least the people who scammed me got a good amount of money from me, and they got a good payday. The problem is that that's the only payday they're going to get. $700 is fine. It's two of them, so they have to split that. but they also have to spend that money on food and stuff like that, and that goes to waste real quick. So they didn't get a lot from me. And also that money's going to go quick, so they're going to have to keep working, and eventually they're going to fuck up. They're going to fuck up, and they're going to get caught by the police, and that's what's going to happen to them. So fuck them, okay? And also, it was a pretty good scare. I'm not going to lie, I hadn't had a good scare in a while, so they can kiss my ass. And that's how I'm looking at this shit. This is how I'm looking at the situation at hand. So, bottom line, it's, you know, I forgive myself for that, and I can work that. I can get that money back. I know how to earn money, but I really want to know how to make money. And there's a goddamn difference, my friend. There's a big goddamn difference between the two. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say today. So, if you're watching this, thank you for watching. Take care, love you, bye-bye, and remember to stay awesome, and also to do it as I say, do as I say, don't do as I do. Genesis, Jesus, he knows me, and he knows I'm right. I've been talking to Jesus all my life. Oh yes, he knows me, and he knows I'm right, and he's been telling me everything's gonna be alright, alright. Jesus, he knows me. Jesus, he knows me, no. I've been talking to Jesus all my life. Oh, yes, he knows me, and he knows I'm right. And he's been telling me everything's gonna be alright, alright. Alright, take care. And I'm glad you like that, so peace be with you.